At last I purchased my own apartment after years of hard work and saving. Have you ever had your family, the people who are supposed to love and support you unconditionally, tell you that you're too good for your own success? And then, when you dared to stand up for yourself, they tried to stage a full-blown intervention to force you out of your own home? Because that's exactly what my sister did, and it ended with me calling the police on my own flesh and blood. I'm Michael, I'm 29 now, and for years, I'd been living with what I now recognize as verbal abuse, perfectly disguised as humor from my younger sister, Jennifer, who's 27. It all exploded when I finally moved into my dream apartment 6 months ago. Growing up, Jennifer was always the golden child. Straight A's, popular, the whole package. Me? I was the quiet one, head buried in books, lost in video games. Our parents, David and Patricia, they just adored Jennifer's witty observations about me, calling her their little comedian. What they called wit, I now realize, was years of subtle, cutting put-downs that chipped away at my self-esteem, making me feel like I was never quite enough. But I worked my butt off after college. Landed a job as a software developer at a tech startup. And after 5 years of grinding, saving every penny, and careful planning, I finally bought a 2-bedroom apartment. It's nothing extravagant, just clean, modern, with hardwood floors, huge windows, and a perfect view of the park. For the first time in my life, I had a space that was truly mine. I poured my soul into it, choosing every piece of furniture, every artwork, every decoration that reflected me. The first time Jennifer visited, it was supposed to be a celebratory dinner with our parents. She walked in, took a long, dramatic sigh, and then, with that condescending smile, said, "Well, this is certainly ambitious for someone like you, Michael." My mother laughed. My father chuckled and ruffled my hair like I was still 12. Throughout dinner, she kept at it. "This dining table is gorgeous. Shame it's wasted on someone who probably just eats takeout." When I showed them my home office, with its organized bookshelves and dual monitors, she smirked, "Look at you pretending to be a real adult. How cute." Every single remark was delivered with that same patronizing smile. And every single time, my parents treated it like comedy gold. The thing is, I'm genuinely proud of what I've accomplished. I earned this apartment. I chose every piece with care. I even took an online interior design course to make sure everything flowed. But sitting there, watching my family laugh at Jennifer's jokes, I felt like that awkward teenager again. The one who was never quite good enough. After they left, I was second-guessing everything. Was my apartment too nice for someone like me? Was I just playing pretend? It took days to shake that feeling. And I realized this pattern had been going on for years, every achievement, every milestone, every small victory, met with Jennifer's cutting humor and my parents' enabling laughter. Last week, it all came to a head. Jennifer texted, saying she wanted to bring her friend Emily, an interior designer, to see my place. I was naive. I thought, maybe she's finally being supportive. They showed up unannounced on a Saturday morning while I was still in my pajamas, drinking coffee. "Oh, good. You're awake," Jennifer chirped, breezing past me with Emily in tow. "I told Emily about your situation, and she agreed to help out of pity. Isn't that sweet?" I stood there, coffee mug in hand, just frozen. Emily looked uncomfortable, but followed Jennifer as she started critiquing every single thing in my apartment. "This couch is too sophisticated for Michael. He needs something more basic. And these art pieces, please. He probably just bought whatever was on sale without understanding what they mean." The worst part? She was live-streaming the whole thing to our family group chat. I could see the notifications flashing on my phone. Laugh emojis from Mom. Dad saying, "Jenny's so funny." My aunt chimed in with, "She's just trying to help." I finally found my voice. "Jennifer, stop. This is my home and I don't need your help or your friend's pity." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. We both know you're in over your head here. This apartment is too good for you, and everyone knows it." I'm just being honest. How many times had I heard that line? Jennifer's just being honest, she tells it like it is. You're too sensitive, Michael. I asked them to leave. Jennifer made a big show of being hurt, but they eventually left. Within minutes, my phone was blowing up. Mom called, upset that I had been rude to my sister. Dad texted, telling me to apologize for overreacting. Relatives weighed in, all taking Jennifer's side. I spent the rest of the day in my apartment, looking around at everything I had built. Every piece told a story. The vintage lamp. The abstract painting from a local artist. The shelves I built to display my first edition sci-fi novels. This wasn't some fake life. This was me. Authentically me. Creating a space where I could finally breathe. But that insidious doubt still crept in. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe Jennifer is just trying to help in her own twisted way. Maybe I should just laugh along like everyone else. It would certainly be easier than constantly feeling like I'm the problem for not finding emotional abuse amusing. I decided I needed strategies. I sent a carefully worded message to our family group chat, explaining that while I appreciated humor, comments about my apartment and life choices were hurtful and I'd appreciate if they stopped. The response? Predictable. Jennifer immediately replied with crying laughing emojis, "Someone's sensitive today." Mom added, "Honey, you know your sister doesn't mean anything by it." Dad just sent an eye-roll gif. But then, Jennifer began her helpful suggestions campaign. My boundary setting was apparently a cry for help. She started sending me daily Zillow listings for studio apartments in sketchy neighborhoods, with comments like, "This seems more your speed or perfect for someone who doesn't appreciate aesthetics." One Tuesday, she showed up at my building, printed listings in hand. My security guard called up. I said no. But she somehow convinced him it was a family emergency. She knocked on my door for 15 minutes, sliding listings under it. Notes like, "This one's only 400 square feet, perfect since you don't have friends to entertain." I didn't open the door. I sat on my couch, listening to her eventually give up. I felt tired. Exhausted by the constant need to defend my existence. Next, she recruited our cousin Ashley, Jennifer's flying monkey, who texted me about how I was struggling with adulting and maybe I should consider Jennifer's suggestions. I blocked Ashley. Then came the family dinner invitation. Mom called, which meant it was serious. "We need to have a family discussion about your situation." "What situation?" I asked. "Jennifer's worried about you, honey." "We all are. This apartment thing, we think you might be in over your head financially and too proud to admit it." I tried to explain my solid finances, my healthy emergency fund. Mom cut me off. "There's no shame in admitting you made a mistake. Jennifer found some lovely, modest places that would be much more suitable." Suitable for whom? I thought. For what they think I deserve? I declined the dinner. My father called me stubborn and ungrateful. He actually said, "Your sister is taking time out of her busy schedule to help you, and this is how you repay her?" I started documenting everything. Every text, every listing, every comment. I had a folder, evidence of crazy. This wasn't concern or help. This was a coordinated effort to make me feel small, to put me back in what they considered my place. My neighbor even told me Jennifer had been asking him if I could afford to live here, trying to embarrass me. When I confronted her via text, she gaslit me, "I'm just looking out for you. Sorry for caring." Followed by an eye-roll emoji. Then she immediately messaged the family chat about how I was attacking her for being a concerned sister. My apartment became my sanctuary, but also my battleground. Every day I stayed here, every morning I woke up in my too-good-for-me bedroom, making breakfast in my trying-too-hard kitchen. It was a small act of rebellion. Jennifer decided to escalate. She announced in the family group chat that she'd arranged for a consultation with 3 interior designers, as a birthday gift. My birthday was 4 months ago. I messaged her privately, "Absolutely not." Her response, "Already paid for it. It would be such a waste of money, but I guess you're used to wasting things. The family rallied behind her, calling it thoughtful. Last Monday, I was working from home when the doorbell rang. Video intercom, Jennifer, with 3 well-dressed women holding tablets and measuring tapes. I didn't answer. She had a key to the building, from when I was sick last year. So they made it to my door. "Michael, your design team is here," she sang out. When I didn't respond, the knocking got louder. Then the running commentary for the designers, "He's probably embarrassed about the state of things in there. Michael's always been insecure about his taste. I've been trying to help him for months, but he's too proud. His place looks like a bachelor pad trying too hard to be sophisticated." This went on for 45 minutes. Building security eventually intervened because other residents complained. I watched on the intercom as Jennifer tried to explain it was a family intervention. The guard, who'd seen her antics before, told her to leave or he'd call the police. One designer muttered, "This is the most uncomfortable job I've ever taken." You'd think that would be the end. You'd be wrong. The next day, Jennifer launched a social media campaign. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Photos from that first dinner at my apartment, carefully cropped, with captions like, "When you see loved ones struggling with adulting, sometimes tough love means staging an intervention." My phone exploded with messages from friends and distant relatives. "Is Michael okay? I had no idea he was having troubles. Your sister is such a caring person." I spent hours doing damage control. Then came the masterpiece of manipulation. Jennifer created a PowerPoint presentation. Yes. A full PowerPoint. Titled, "Helping Michael Transition to Appropriate Living." Sent it to our entire extended family. It included photos of my apartment with arrows pointing out problems. Zillow listings for studio apartments with pros like less space to clean and harder to mess up decorating. A timeline of my decline, starting with when I got my job and started thinking he was better than he is. Testimonials. A financial breakdown of how much I could save. The most infuriating slide, signs your loved one is living beyond their emotional means, with bullet points like owns furniture from actual stores, not hand-me-downs, has artwork on walls, trying too hard, uses coasters, pretentious behavior, owns more than one set of sheets, unnecessary luxury. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This wasn't just about my apartment. This was about my entire existence being too much for what my family thought I deserved. Even my Uncle Mark, the voice of reason, said, "This seems excessive." Jennifer's response, "Uncle Mark, with all due respect, you don't see what I see. I'm his sister. I know when he's in over his head." The presentation even made its way to some of my coworkers. My manager pulled me aside. I wanted to crawl under my desk. But then, an unexpected turn. Sarah, one of the interior designers from Jennifer's ambush, reached out to me privately. She was mortified. She said my apartment was beautifully decorated, showing clear personal aesthetic. She also told me Jennifer had been badmouthing me during the entire car ride, saying, "He's always been the family disappointment, and we're just trying to help him face reality." This validation, from a stranger, a professional in the field Jennifer was using as a weapon against me, meant more than I can express. My therapist called the PowerPoint one of the most elaborate displays of familial undermining she'd ever seen. She explained that this wasn't about my apartment. It was about control. About keeping me in the role my family assigned me years ago. The awkward one. The one who doesn't quite measure up. I changed my locks. Informed building security that Jennifer was not to be allowed up. And I looked into legal options for harassment. Because that's what this was. Harassment. My apartment remained my sanctuary, but now it was also my battleground. Every day I stayed here, every day I woke up in my too-good-for-me bedroom, it was a small act of rebellion. I was done trying to make them see reason. Done explaining myself. Done feeling guilty for building a life they didn't expect me to have. But I wasn't done fighting for it. Then, Jennifer discovered this Reddit thread. She screenshot everything. Send it to the family group chat. Look what Michael's been saying about us to strangers on the internet. The family outrage was swift. I was ungrateful, dramatic, attention-seeking. Mom's personal favorite, airing our family's private business to the world. The irony was lost on them. Jennifer demanded I delete the posts. When I refused, she said, "Fine. If you want to act like you're being victimized, I'll show you what real concern looks like." What followed was 2 weeks of escalating behavior, what my therapist called an extinction burst. First, she contacted my landlord. Made false reports that I might be subletting. My landlord, who's known me for years, called me immediately. He was annoyed. Then she tried to involve my workplace, ambushing my coworkers at a coffee shop, expressing how worried she was about my mental state. Kevin, one of my coworkers, came to me, "Dude, your sister is intense." I had to have an awkward conversation with my manager. But the final straw came 3 weeks ago. Jennifer announced she was organizing a family intervention at my apartment. Not asking. Announcing. She convinced our parents that my online behavior and refusal to accept help were signs of a serious problem. She had it all planned. She'd use her copy of my building key to let everyone in. She'd hired a life coach. The interior designers would be there. She even arranged for a moving truck to be on standby in case I came to my senses. I found out because my cousin Emily, accidentally added to the planning group chat, forwarded me the messages. Reading their discussions about me like I was a problem to be solved, not a person, it was surreal. Mom worried about snacks. Dad debated changing my locks for my own good. Jennifer had assigned everyone roles like it was a military operation. That's when I decided, enough was enough. I took a day off work. Consulted with a lawyer. Turns out I had grounds for a restraining order. Harassment, false reports to my landlord, planned forced entry into my apartment. The lawyer also said Jennifer making copies of my building key without permission was illegal. I then called the police non-emergency line. They took it seriously. Especially the part about a group of people planning to enter my apartment without my consent. They said it sounded like planned breaking and entering. Family or not. On the day of the planned intervention, I wasn't at work. I was at home. With my lawyer. 2 police officers. My landlord, who was there to change the locks. And Sarah, the interior designer, as a witness. At 5:30 p.m., right on schedule, I watched on my new security camera as Jennifer led a parade of family members to my door. She tried her key. It didn't work. The confusion on her face was almost comical. She tried again. Then she started knocking. "Michael, open up. We know you're in there." I let her knock for exactly 2 minutes, my lawyer's suggestion, before opening the door with the chain on. The look of triumph on Jennifer's face morphed into pure shock when she saw the police officers behind me. "What's going on?" she demanded. The officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, we've been informed that you're attempting to enter this residence without permission. We need you and your group to leave the premises immediately." The family erupted. Mom started crying, saying I was doing this to hurt them. Dad accused me of being manipulative. The life coach looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. The interior designers, different ones this time, were already backing away. Jennifer, though, doubled down. "This is my brother. I have every right to help him. He's clearly having some kind of breakdown." My lawyer stepped into view. "Actually, Miss Jennifer, you don't have any right to enter his home without permission. We have documentation of your harassment over the past several months, and if you don't leave immediately, we'll be filing for an emergency restraining order." That's when Jennifer made her biggest mistake. She lunged forward, trying to push past me into the apartment. The officers immediately intervened. And she was arrested. For attempted breaking and entering and assault. The family watched in stunned silence as Jennifer was led away in handcuffs, screaming about how I was ruining everything and needed help. The life coach muttered something about not being paid enough for this, and left. The designers were already gone. My parents stood there, looking between me and the police car driving away with their daughter. Finally, my mother spoke. "How could you do this to your sister?" "I didn't do anything to her," I said, my voice steady and calm. "I just stopped letting her do things to me." My father started to speak, but my lawyer cut him off with information about the restraining order we'd be filing and a warning about further harassment. They left, looking older and smaller than I'd ever seen them. The restraining order was granted. Jennifer was given community service and mandatory therapy. She's not allowed within 500 feet of me or my home. The family is split. Some think I went too far. Others, like Uncle Mark and Cousin Emily, have reached out to say they're proud of me for standing up for myself. My parents haven't spoken to me since that day. They communicate through other family members, saying they'll talk to me when I apologize to Jennifer and get help for my issues. I've made peace with the possibility that that day might never come. My apartment is quieter now. The constant anxiety about when Jennifer might show up, or what new scheme she might concoct, is gone. I've been working with my therapist on understanding why my family needed me to stay small, why my success threatened them so much. Last week, I hosted a dinner party. As I watched people enjoying themselves in my space, complimenting my home, treating me with respect and genuine friendship, I realized something. This is what normal feels like. This is what I'd been missing. Jennifer was wrong. This apartment isn't too good for me. If anything, I'm finally growing into the person who deserves it. Someone who sets boundaries, stands up for himself, and doesn't apologize for building a good life. 6 months later, I was at the farmer's market. I heard a familiar voice. My stomach dropped. It was my mother. Alone. Looking older and tired. "Hello, Michael." "Hi, Mom." We found a bench. She told me Jennifer was in court-ordered therapy. "She's been saying things about how we treated you growing up. My father," she said, "refused family therapy, claiming nothing was wrong. But I've been thinking." She trailed off, twisting her wedding ring. "Did we really make you feel like you weren't good enough?" "Yes," I said, simply. "You did." She flinched. "Jennifer was always so bright, so confident. You were quiet. And I guess we thought you needed toughening up. We thought her teasing would help you come out of your shell." "It wasn't teasing, Mom," I said, tears rolling down her cheeks. "It was cruel. And you laughed along." "I know," she whispered. "I mean, I'm starting to know." The therapist, she showed us videos about family dynamics, about scapegoating, about abuse. That word hung heavy between us. "Your apartment," she said suddenly. "Jennifer showed us pictures from that first dinner. She made fun of everything. But I remember thinking how nice it looked, how proud you must have been. And instead of saying that, I laughed when she called it too good for you." "Why?" I asked, genuinely curious. Why was it so hard to just be happy for me? She was quiet for so long. Then, the most honest thing she'd ever said to me. "Because if you didn't need us to tell you who you were anymore, what was our role? If you weren't our awkward Michael who needed guidance, who were you? Who were we?" "I'm still Michael," I said. "I'm just not the version of Michael you created. I'm the version I chose to be." We sat for a few more minutes. When she stood to leave, she paused. "I'd like to see your apartment again someday. Really see it this time. Without Jennifer, without your father. Just to see what you've built." "Maybe someday," I said. I meant it. "But not yet." She nodded. "I'm proud of you," she said quietly. "I know that doesn't fix anything, but I wanted you to know." After she left, I went home to my apartment, my beautiful, perfect-for-me apartment, and arranged the flowers I'd bought in a vase on my dining table. My therapist says healing isn't linear. Some days I'm angry. Some days I'm sad. Some days, like that day, I feel something like hope. Not hope for full reconciliation necessarily, but hope that maybe, just maybe, some people can grow. Jennifer's restraining order is still in effect. She's blocked on everything. My father still refuses to acknowledge any wrongdoing. Some family members have quietly reached out. Others maintain I'm the villain. But here's the thing. I'm okay with all of it. My life is full now. I have friends who celebrate my wins instead of diminishing them. I have a therapist who helps me navigate the complicated emotions. I have a home that reflects who I am, not who others think I should be. Last month, I got promoted to senior developer. My first thought wasn't, what will my family say? It was, I earned this. That mental shift, that freedom from seeking approval that was never going to come, that's worth more than any apartment. Your achievements aren't too good for you. Your happiness isn't showing off. Your boundaries aren't cruel. You deserve the life you build for yourself. And anyone who tries to convince you otherwise, even family, especially family, is telling you more about their own limitations than yours. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who support your success instead of resenting it. Who offer help without hidden motives. Who love you without conditions or contracts. By that definition, I have more family now than ever. Patricia, who fought for me like a sister should. My property management team who stood by me. Dr. Chen who helped me process betrayal without becoming bitter. My support group who understood without judgment. And Dad, who eventually chose truth over comfortable lies. That's my family now, chosen, trusted, and real. Jennifer was right about one thing in her letter, I am the better one. Not because I was born that way, but because when tested, I chose to be. And that's a choice we all get to make every single day. Choose wisely. Your future self will thank you. Have you ever had to choose between family ties and your own self-worth? How did you navigate it? I'd really love to hear your experiences and thoughts in the comments below.